guys.
He
So
was
we can breathe.
completely lost. He was completely lost.
Get the men off the board. We going home today. Wow. Draw.
We can see Hikaru. Yeah, so we see in modern a bit of a risky approach. D5 from Powell, pushing in the center. Let's see how Hikaru is going to respond to this. I mean, he doesn't have a good score for the knight. He might get a little bit cramped here for space. He goes knight at b4, makes sense. Move like a5 seems tricky, because your knight can easily get trapped. Well, let's see.
But I always have c5, right? Oh, but you're talking about a c3 push. The c3 push should be
I mean,
nasty.
if the knight moves back,
yeah, like some
and then
weird
c3 happens, you're nice.
c3, I'm out of there. Yeah.
Okay.
Oof. So you have to play like c6
Let's
instead,
flip the
maybe.
board, by the way, and look at it from Hikaru's perspective.
Look at him. You see him on the lean back, and then he lean forward. Like the lean back. You see the sight there? The psychological. This is what you can't see all over the board. The lean back, like, bro, I got this. Like,
Bishop
can you make a
d4, he
move
played knight
already?
f6. I think white played a5.
Yeah, he did, actually. He did. So this knight is out here in the wilderness.
Yeah,
as you mentioned.
he has to be very careful that his knight doesn't get trapped. Let's see what he should do. Because there's no easy path back, to be honest. Rook he goes c5 now. If white would take, he's happy because he recaptures and the knight is safe. But if white moves the bishop back
c5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bishop e3 and then...
Oh, he does take en passant. It is forced. You see, you guys, it is forced.
Bach is ruining somebody's chess career right now. Somebody's chess career. Somebody
Bishop
out
to
here
b6.
is gonna do that and mess up. Crucial game.
Move the queen somewhere. Queen e7. Okay, now once again, guys, our man had a tough start. He drew the first round with the black pieces, so make sure to spam that flower to give him all the power he needs. We see trade on f3 happening. Yeah. Let's see what is gonna happen.
Well, we have the modern dragon bishop, King's Indian bishop. I think he's doing quite well. The c4 square is weak, and it almost is like he played a Sicilian. Some type of Sicilian. The rook comes to c8, or some type of dragon, literally a dragon position. Somehow, where maybe some weaknesses do on the b and b6 and a5, but you've already plugged the squares with white pieces. Knight a4 to b6 is definitely an idea, but I mean, black's doing quite well.
Yeah. White going knight at d5 makes a lot of sense. If Hikaru takes, he will recapture. I will see Hikaru going rook ac8 first, and white playing c3, blunting the bishop on the long diagonal. Maybe something like knight e5 to c4 makes sense.
That's exactly what's happening on the board as we speak it. Rook ac8, c3.
He wants to go here. I think
Bishop
it makes sense
e2
for white to take, which is what he does, and bishop to e2. Hikaru recaptures with the bishop, of course.
Wait, mine is
and white is thinking.
Slower than yours.
Hikaru has
okay,
131 on the clock, and white is under a minute. White goes queen to e2. Now, a bit of a weird move. The bishop is kind of stuck here. So, let's see. Maybe knight to c4 makes sense, but I would prefer bishop e2 for white, because now this bishop cannot move anywhere. Like, what can you ever do with this bishop, right? So Hikaru taking his time. Let's see what he's going to do. So again, make sure to give this guy your energy. Okay, he took an
definitely
f3.
get those primes for the time, right? Because the time now is like 3 minutes. You know, every prime takes off a few seconds of that time.
Exactly, so tossing that prime to get him low on time. Okay, rook ab1 to protect the pawn. And rook to c6 by Hikaru on the board. White going rook f to d1. And Hikaru moves in the other rook with rook f to c8. White moving his queen over to d3. Let's see, Hikaru is reaching for the queen. Where's he going to go? Is he going to trade? He goes rook to c4. He wants to keep queens on the board. Okay, makes a lot of sense. He's still up a minute on the clock. White going queen to d5. Hikaru going queen to c6. He's like, alright, if you trade, I want to take... Does he want to take with the pawn? I mean, that's possible, but this rook might then get trapped. Right, if white goes f3, like, where's your rook going all of a sudden? So maybe you should capture with the rook, play it solid. But I mean, there's still play left in the position, but white is fairly solid. It's not easy to create chances here with black. So keep spamming that flower, but especially tossing that prime to get white low on time. Hikaru takes with the 8 rook, f3 on the board, and Hikaru
tiny up
king
too.
to f8.
I mean, like, these guys are strong and like
King f2,
wow.
king
He's up this
e8,
time. Let's go.
king
F8.
e3, king d7 is on the board.
Oh wow.
Bishop to
They are so
d4.
Let me refresh.
I think that might be a mistake, because that makes this pawn weak. Right after a trade, this can start hanging, but let's see if we can cook up some chances. Once again, the material is getting fairly limited here. Keep spamming that flower.
E5 in check. There's nothing, huh?
Yeah, he goes bishop g5 check. The king moves back to e2. Okay. He goes rook to c8, making sure his rook always has space. Move. White going b3, rook back to c6 and c4. f5 by Hikaru, trying to chip away the structure. This is what happened. White captures, Hikaru recaptures. White going g4, expanding on the king side. Hikaru going e5, expanding in the center. Bishop f2. King to e6 on the board. Rook to d5 by white.
20 seconds under.
Bishop e7, rook f8 and bishop e7. Tough, tough. You're going h5, trying to chip away the structure. White having... Hikaru still has like half a minute. White has like probably 10 seconds or something. I don't know. Rook g1 is on the board. We see take. Let's see what he's gonna do. f4, bishop f2, rook h8. Trying to infiltrate on h2.
He did. Take push.
Rook to d1, and bishop d8, hitting the pawn on a5.
Oh.
Rook to d5 back. Okay, rook h2.
Rook h2 and then bishop h4.
And there he goes. Rook h2 on the board. King has to go back to like f1. You gotta get out of this pin. There he goes. King to f1. See what Hikaru's gonna do here.
It's like 10
seconds.
seconds.
Protecting the pawn. Rook g2, rook h3, keeping... Oh, and e4. Nice. E4 is on the board, hitting this. If you take f3 with a fork. There we go.
Oh my goodness.
And rook to g1 is on the board. He can take with the rook, which should be very strong. Then he will take the pawn on b3. Hikaru taking his time here.
E3, rook h2.
And how's he gonna take? He takes with the pawn, okay. King moves up to d3. Rook h2 hitting the bishop. Rook f1 to defend. Rook to c8.
How much time
And
is
king
left
e4. Don't like the fact that he didn't take with the rook. Okay, but still, this time is getting very low. Bishop d4, rook h4, g5, rook g4 is on the board. Rook takes f3. Hikaru took with the bishop. c5, bishop back to e7. Hikaru still up a pawn. Rook to g2.
This is clean.
C takes d6.
It's clean, big fella. He's working
check.
it.
Over king d3.
Check.
Hikaru takes a rook. Okay, wait, he should be winning now. He should be winning now. He takes on e7 in between, and Hikaru takes bishop c5, rook f7. Yeah, rook behind the passed pawn. This, bishop c5 here. Takes everything is on the board. This is this should be an easy win for Hikaru. f2.
Look at him.
He's doing the. I think he can go f1, take king c6. Yeah, he's reaching for the queen.
Oh, look for the.
It's weird.
Grab the queen.
Yeah, there he goes. Don't flag. Take.
Thank you.
Take, and everything's winning. King c6. Yeah.
Thanks for that, queen.
And king b5. Yeah, and he looks relaxed. That is the first win. There we go. There we go.
Oh, that's the
first up.
Let's go. Ah.
Yeah. He's having that look like not good. I mean, we take the dub, but not good.
Take the dub. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Job done. Out.
Yeah.
Assassin. Deadly.
Yeah. Always, I think, a bit of a relief, when I don't think there's any other explanation for that first draw other than nerves, So always nice to get the first win on the scoreboard, and let's hope he can, keep going from here.
It's sloppy. It was sloppy, but hey, a win is a win. Like, it doesn't matter. This is Blitz too as well.
This is Blitz.
We just come to get these dubs and go home. Rook to d1 with some pressure on the file. Maybe rook d2 and doubly, putting everything on the d file. What do you do about this knight on c3 though? We need to expose our bishop. Dark square bishop needs to be open somehow on b2.
Yep.
It's not that easy. And maybe you just double the rooks and just like chill. Double the rooks. You have sort of a Maroxy bind position if you play e4
Yeah.
here. Black probably wants to play d5, so maybe doubling the rooks and playing e4 is a good plan. Plays queen c2, bishop c6.
Okay, that's better. Let's see what's happening. And queen b7, it seems, by black on the board. Hikaru pushing with e4 in the center. He has to move knight d5 available, because after take, the bishop on 5 is... And there he goes, knight d5 in the center. The bishop on c6 will be trapped there. And he's sitting back, taking a sip from his G Fuel.
On to me.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Right, so now if black would take everything and
Braids.
take, there must be some trick. I guess he's looking at take, and knight d4 maybe with the knight hopping in here. Lots of tactics. And he takes with the bishop, okay. So Hikaru is probably going to take with the e-pawn, and then he's probably looking at e5. Right, so he has more space in the center, but why do I have the two bishops? He will control the light squares. Maybe with like knight h4 and f4 makes sense.
I love it. I love it. That's immediately I was thinking knight
Takes with the
h4,
e-pawn,
g6, f4.
And indeed we see e5 in the center.
Beautiful. And then knight h4, g6, f4. It's very risky. I mean, it feels risky, but
yeah,
should be enough. Start breaking that stuff open over there. But now we need to rearrange these rooks. So rook f1 and e1.
For sure. So we see Hikaru going bishop to c3. Maybe, I'm curious if he wants to stop a5.
Yeah.
Or like maybe put the bishop here, annoy black a little bit. But it's looking pretty pleasant. He's also up 20 seconds on the clock, 120 compared to Durarbayli's 1 minute. Rook e1 was played. Rook e8. Rook e2, g6. He's doubling the rooks. Durarbayli put his bishop on g7.
Yes,
and Hikaru went knight at d2. Okay, I wonder where the knight is going. Durarbayli doing his thing here once again. Hikaru trying to, step, kind of trying to increase the pace, putting pressure on Durarbayli.
Yeah, that clock. He under a minute. Hikaru was still 16 seconds before going under a minute. Of course, there's a
a5 by Durarbayli. Okay, now nice idea. A4, and now knight b1, a3 to b5, and Hikaru's going for it. I think if the knight lands on b5, that's gonna be huge.
Ooh,
it's always gonna put pressure on his pawn on d6, and there he goes indeed. Durarbayli going knight to b8. He wants to do the same thing, put the knight on b4, but Hikaru will land here first. Or he can also break with f4. He goes queen to d2 first, pressuring the pawn on a5. Ah, nice move. He's stopping this because then that pawn will hang. The rook is no longer defending the pawn. Queen to b6 with Durarbayli hitting the pawn on b3. Hikaru going knight to a3, sacking the pawn on b3, and Durarbayli takes it. Knight to b5. Okay, now the queen can easily get trapped. But how exactly? Like, let's say black goes rook to d8. How exactly do you trap this queen? That is a big question. Durarbayli taking his time here. He has 19 seconds against 112 for Hikaru. Rook a6 on the board that allows knight to c7, but he does get a lot of pawns. He takes on c4. c7, queen c4 is on the board. Hikaru takes the rook. Durarbayli recaptures. And Hikaru goes rook b1, trying to penetrate through the queen side, hitting the knight on b8. Knight d7 makes sense. There's always bishop f1 lurking to hit the queen.
Yeah, bishop f1. I was thinking that's the way that we could trap the queen, but
knight d7 and rook e4. Wait, I think that's game. That's game. The queen is trapped. The queen is trapped. There we go.
Oh, look at the lean
back.
Easy
clap. Easy clap.
My queen.
He's going rook to b6. Okay, rook takes b6. Easy up, and there we go. He moves to 2.5 out of 3. Good
Yikes! Game. Yikes! The smile there, and the look around.
GG, yo.
GG, yo.
Okay, anyway, and we are underway. Knight of 3, knight of 6, and e3, g6 and c4. Hikaru's a regular in this line, bishop g7 and d4, d6. Is the board Danny range? Oh, there we go.
Oh, let's go to live too. It might be up in live now. Let me just check. It is. It's in live. It moves faster in live. Yeah, they're already in live. They're on move 5. In events, they're on move 2. Now they're on move 5. Bishop b2. Movements.
Anyway, let's see what's happening on the board. So Hikaru plays this very, very often in Blitz games. Very often knight g4 happens. But these positions generally tend to be better for white. Knight c3 happens, black takes. And then after castles, queen d2, rook a1. I've seen him win a lot of games here against our boy Danya. You know, white generally just has a nice grip over the d5 square. So I think white's just a little bit better here.
I really like these positions actually.
Shows that.
Yeah, that's actually Yakov Norwich actually has this he calls this the Dacha cheesecake, King's Indian cheesecake is what he would call this system here. Is he would play this actually and exactly that, queen d2, rook a to d1 and rook f to d1, or rook a to c1, rook f to d, rook a to d, rook f to e, whatever combination. And it just works out. It's just healthy and easy for white to play.
Indeed, yeah, it's just easier for white to play indeed. We see trade on f3, another knight coming to e5, and Hikaru drops the bishop back to e2. Puranik taking a think here. Hikaru still has almost 3 minutes on his clock, while Puranik has like 2:13. So that is a good sign for Hikaru. Bishop to e6 on the board. He's gonna go rook 81. I know Hikaru. I've seen him play this position many times. Oh, he goes rook f d1.
You know, rook f to d, so he wants the other on c.
Yeah.
So are we thinking about knight to d5 usually? And I'm thinking a b4 push as well. a4, maybe just expand the whole queen side.
Indeed, and sometimes you go f4, kick this knight back, go bishop to f4, but then the pawn on e3 can become a little bit weak. We see Puranik going h5, gaining space on that side of the board. Hikaru jumping in with knight to d5. Now black can take, but then after the trade, this pawn on c7 is on can become backwards, and white can easily attack it with the rook here. Puranik going h4 as we see. Maybe f4 by Hikaru, or just h3 stop. You don't want to allow h3, right? That allows all the counterplay in the world. But on the other
what
hand,
happens here? Tell the chat, Pac. What happens here if we take on d5, and then we try to get rid of the d pawn by moving the c pawn? What happens?
If black goes c5, believe it or not, white can go en croissant.
Wow.
It is forced. It is forced.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, guys, don't believe that. It's not forced. Yeah. Don't do that.
But as we see, quite a pleasant position here for Hikaru. He goes rook ac1. He's anticipating this trade because then, once again, white will have pressure towards his pawn on c7. a4, b4, a3, bishop a1 is on the board. I don't know. I feel like that inclusion should favor Hikaru, but let's see. Bishop a1. If this pawn later on drops off, black will have a pawn that is already far advanced, so there will be something to look out for. But I think overall this one is progressing in the right way.
Look at the bishop on a1, you know. I mean, just chilling, right?
Sniping on that diagonal.
Chilling. I'm liking that. The
and
bishop all the way on a1.
Indeed. And once again, if we have a look at the clock, we see that Hikaru still is 2:30 on the clock, and black is 1:20. That is definitely a good sign for Hikaru.
Yeah, it's like it really is sometimes disrespectful how he does people on the clock here. So that's that's ridiculous, bro. He's up 2 minutes on the clock. It's really disrespectful.
Yeah, I once remember a story of a friend of mine who played in Aeroflot, right? And after the Aeroflot classical tournament is over, there's always a Blitz tournament. And he said, yeah, I played Jan Pomniachtchi, and I really had no idea what's going on, but the guy sacrificed like 3 pawns in a row, and I ended up being checkmated, and the guy still had something like 3:20 on the clock. Well, you start with 3 minutes.
Starting with 3 minutes, that just hurts. It hurts like, I don't even want to play this game no more, man. Or like, stick to what you know. Yeah.
So expect Hikaru to trade, and then he can also go rook c4, pressuring this pawn on h4, doubling up. Everything is looking very, very pleasant here.
I see so much once again Jan with a Y. Bach, did you see Twitter? Usually with Jan's name. Jan's name now is spelled with a Y. He did it himself.
Huh.
He
really?
He recently just changed it to a Y.
Maybe because he doesn't want people call him Ian and just Jan.
Yeah, because I saw that. I was like, wow. Hey, like, why is it a Y there now? And he did it. It's his page. It's funny.
Yeah. And queen f6, rook c1 is on the board. And once again, this pawn on c7 is under huge pressure. Queen to b2 could be a move, but we see Puranik reaching for the rook, probably contemplating. Okay, rook e7. Can white take? That is a big question.
Right.
Black will take. If check.
Just take it. Rook c1.
I think it is a free pawn, unless there's some trick.
Queen b2, rook c2, king h2, queen
Right.
e5, f4.
What is he cooking up here? Like, what if Hikaru just takes a pawn? I don't see it. But we'll probably find out shortly. 20 seconds for Puranik, 2 minutes for Hikaru. We see him thinking here. Puranik doing the manka, And Hikaru takes a pawn. We see a trade on c7.
Yeah, there it is.
Now we see Yep by Puranik. He goes queen to b2. Once again, you don't want to take that rook c2 by Hikaru, dropping back. Okay.
He's got rook c2 and we chilling. This is a wrap.
Queen a1
Get this
check,
man off the
king
board.
h.
King h2. And what do you do?
H2.
Queen e5,
Indeed.
not a move. It's not a move.
It is a move, but you just go f4, right?
It's f4. It's
Indeed.
f4.
Rook, he goes queen to c1,
C1.
queen e5 by Puranik, trying to hang on, hitting the pawn here.
C1 is
Hikaru went rook to d2 to defend, rook a4 on the board. Hikaru played rook to d4, nice, defending everything. Also hitting this, by the way.
Oh,
Puranik
nice.
dropped the rook all the way back.
Queen c7. That's kind of
Take the
scary.
pawn
My
if he
back
wants
rank's
to.
kinda weak. I could grab that boy.
He goes queen to c3, stabilizing, nice move. g5 by Puranik. King f1 by Hikaru. Bring the king a little bit closer to the endgame. This is not a move. Puranik going king h6. Thought it was a blunder for a second, but the queen is defended. Curting his time. He's going rook to d3. Queen f5 by Puranik. Marka, rook c8 also comes into the position.
Yeah, that is the air.
6 seconds though for Puranik.
A little dicey
e4
here.
by Hikaru. Wait, takes.
Dicey. Why
Wait,
is
that is a
queen on
glitch.
the
He took an
board?
e4. There, he took an
Oh.
e4. Queen is on e4.
Alright,
Just
Chad.
imagine that the queen is here. Use your
You
imagination.
didn't see anything.
King g1. Still black has no
see
time.
anything.
Rook to e8. Shoot. This one is not going his way. And he's shaking his head.
Crazy.
He's going rook to d1. Once again, but he still has a time advantage. Queen e5 by Puranik, taking on a3, okay. Queen e2, hitting the rook. And Hikaru staying his time. Rook f1, I'd
We
assume.
just defend. We just defend. Queen b.
Yeah.
Just defend.
And you have to go rook f1. He goes queen to b3. Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to keep the position. Rook e5 by Puranik. Hikaru went rook f1, queen d2. And he went queen f6 and something happened. Okay, black took here, check here. And a4.
Oh, we got the space. We got the. Yeah, it's too many threats.
b6. b6 is on the board
Let
here.
me see. Let me watch the live. Let me
Hurting
watch
his
the
time.
live. Quick
He goes
house.
queen to c7, hitting the pawn there. Queen to d4, a5. Or queen c2 is also nasty. a5 on the board.
Take.
Take. And g4 by Puranik. Trying to blast open Hikaru's king, but there is a move like queen c2 which is very nasty. We see a
Queen C2,
trade.
yeah, Queen C2 is beautiful. And then pin
And
that
queen
boy.
c3.
And win. Both down to like no time, living up the increment. Don't blunder the queen. Do you have to go queen c6?
Shoot. Everything was traded off here.
Jeez.
It's gonna be a draw.
Oh my goodness.
Sag.
Dang. Crazy ending there.
Another draw.
Crazy ending. What happened?
A Nimzo with bishop to f4. I've never
in
seen
my
this
life.
line.
In my life, Bach. Ever. What is this?
I have no idea. We saw castles. Queen b3 and a5 by Hikaru. Hikaru still played this move fairly quickly, and a3 is on the board. He takes and goes
That
a4,
Russian-
fixing the queen
Russian
side.
chess
Indeed, that
school.
Russian chess school.
Preparation. The heck is
Yeah.
bishop f4?
Yeah. Hikaru sitting back, looking slick.
A
and
new
is,
move.
not
Right. It's
sure.
like he invented a new move. Exactly.
F3 on the board by white, trying to expand with e4. E4. That's why Hikaru strikes in the center with d5.
Man.
All right. I wonder, like, who would ever? We see c5 on the board. Who would ever play chess in a suit? Like, normally everyone takes the jacket off. I feel like that makes
Hey,
you
man,
way
you know
too like,
teaching over
way
there
too
at Russian
stiff,
chess
you know?
School, man. He don't care.
Yeah.
Bishop f4. got my suit jacket on, playing Blitz chess. You need to watch this guy.
Indeed.
Watch this guy.
Yeah.
Actually, they did say, let's get a board. Oh, you got the flip. There it is. Perfect.
Yeah.
Flipped.
Probably Hikaru wants to go for a quick bishop a6, trying to trade off the bishops. White could take at some point, trying to get control over the c-file. Let's see how this one is going to progress. But he kind of needs a win here, I feel. He's a point back, and he can't get the gap with Magnus get too big. So let's see what's going to happen. Bishop a6 on the board.
I like that bishop a6, getting rid of that nice bishop he has.
Yeah. And then white trades on a6. Hikaru is going to capture with, let's see, with the knight or with the rook. Both captures look completely fine.
The question is, where do we want to put the knight? But I know it increases the pressure on c5. And then even knight d7 comes around. Maybe c6, knight d7. That pawn on c5 is looking kind of weak. But you do have bishop d6 there, don't you? It's kind of weird.
Indeed.
So he takes with the rook.
Takes with the rook. Yeah, logical move. Let's see. White takes on b6. Now once again, you don't want to take with the rook, because then bishop takes c7. So he takes with the pawn, and knight e2 by white. Hikaru going b5, expanding on the queen side. Castles, knight c6. This should be fine for the big man.
Yeah, it's going to be fine. He's going to put the rook on c6 and maybe put the knight on c4. Ooh, very nice.
That'd be very nice. If black can get in knight a5 to c4 or to b3, rook c6. Some very nice plans there indeed. So, yeah, let's see how this one is going to progress. I do expect castles from white. White is sitting back. He's reaching for the queen. Maybe queen d3. Yeah, hitting the pawn on b5. This could be a difficult move to deal with, right? You first have to protect this pawn. Maybe just rook b6 by Hikaru and then moving the knight out of c6. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to defend, and you want to do it the most accurate so you don't waste tempi doing this.
Yeah.
Or put pieces on the wrong squares that don't need to be there. For instance, the rook on a6 doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't want to be on b6 either. It really wants to be on c6. But rook b6 temporary here. So rook to c1 with bishop c7 is parried how?
White
Knight
played
c6?
knight to c3, hitting the pawn, and Hikaru played queen to d7 to guard. Okay. I think if a couple moves happen here, this will be quite pleasant for Hikaru. Like castles, knight to c6. Can white take will always be the question. But then he can later break with b4, and then the pawn on b2 will be a target. So let's see. Is knight c6 possible, or can white take the pawn? I can't.
Correct. What if you just take? He does it. It's there.
Oh, he does it.
Board. It is there. So the critical line. He takes it. Well, I guess.
Yeah.
You just played 95, huh?
And notice how Hikaru is always up on the clock. He is just a little under 2 minutes, and white is 1:18. He takes the pawn on b5. Knight a5 by Hikaru. Nice move, hitting the knight now with the rook and the queen. Yep, perfect. Knight can swing to c4. b2 will be under attack. This is looking great. Knight c3 on the board.
Snap on
c4.
And what do you do?
And there he goes.
You can go knight c4 immediately.
Yeah. I'm still in shock that Synchev is playing in a suit. Rook ab1.
Don't care, man. Look, that kind of guy.
Rook b3.
Boy, you gotta watch him.
Hikaru increasing the pressure.
The reason being, Bach, usually though, is because like you knock pieces over. Your sleeves knock pieces over. So it's actually a lot of times it's uncomfortable too. It's not the most comfortable playing.
Yeah, like
it's a lot to it.
Like we see Hikaru, right? He had a jacket, but he took it off.
Right, you understand. Yeah, it's just difficult to.
So queen e2 by Synchev on the board, defending the pawn. Let's see. Now you can't play here because that hangs a rook. You can't play here because that hangs a pawn. So Hikaru is to come with something. So only 27 seconds for white. Maybe knight h5 is nice, because if you remove this bishop, then I go rook f8 and your entire queen side is going to collapse.
Oh, beautiful.
He goes h6, making sure he can never get back.
G5, I guess. After knight h5, h5, weird.
h3 by white, but now knight h5 is not a move due to bishop h2, keeping the bishop on the diagonal.
That's kind of annoying. So maybe, I mean, we could take on a3. Is that possible? Take on a3 and take on c3? I mean, it is a pawn, but...
Right, but I wonder who will favor that transition. Okay,
maybe rook c8, then take on a3, then take on c3.
Yeah, I like rook c8, you know, just improving another piece.
Yeah, man, it's domination of the position here.
Goes rook
You can't
c8 on
even
the
push
board.
e4. Yeah, rook c8. Yeah, rook c8 is nice. And e4 now is a very
King
deterred
h1
only,
by
yeah, because of
white. That
Yes.
seems like a panicky move. Like, why king
Spinkers?
h1? It doesn't really... Just take, indeed.
Spink City.
And if here...
Thanks for the gumdrop.
Still no easy tactics, because if you drop back, then a4 hangs. 22 seconds for white, 48 for Hikaru. He goes queen, the c6, increasing the pressure.
And it's more pressure. Why not? We don't have to take right now.
Synchev looking a little bit nervous there. He knows he's getting low on the clock. He's go rook f to c1 and
real-time
queen
reaction.
a6. Hikaru probably trying to cook up some tactics on the diagonal. Rook, wait, what happened? King h2, rook c6, and e4 by white, striking in the center. Okay. Can he take here? b2.
Knight h5.
Wait, he went knight h5, hitting the
Ooh,
bishop.
little Knight h5 action. I love it. I love it.
Wait,
Now,
white
d5 is
went
hanging. There's a
Bishop
lot of stuff
g3,
going
but
on.
white's king will be wide open, like, for
Oh,
tactics.
spink those? I mean, don't even think
Take,
about
take. White has only
Five.
5 seconds. 22 for Hikaru. He plays rook back to c8. E, d5 is on the board.
that.
Check. King f4 and ed. This is on the board. White went queen to g4, hitting the rook. Rook to c7 by Hikaru. Wait, why made a move? King h2 back. Hikaru goes knight takes b2, chopping off the pawn. Wait, I think
Take
white's
those.
collapsing here. White played knight
What did he
e2,
play?
knight d3 or something. Queen c8 check.
Real quick,
See
move that
trading.
blade back.
Oh, and he wait. This, and knight e3 is on the board. Where does the queen go? White went queen to c6.
93, queen, yeah.
We saw a trade on rook to
B2 on the
b2.
12 seconds.
How do you deal with that attack? 12 seconds for Hikaru. He played
19.
knight to c3, take, king back, and rook to d2, hitting the pawn. d5 by white. Now if you take, you're... No, wait, then rook d6, then rook d6.
What's going on? Oh,
Should.
Hikaru was
But he gets a lot of
expressive.
pawns here.
Spinkers, give me those. Check up. Push. Push.
It's probably
What is
just a
going
draw
on
now.
right now? Oh my goodness. King's on g6. Looks over. Takes those two.
It's probably just a draw, but it's not over until it's...
Oh,
Nah.
goodness, come on. Oh, and Magnus lost though. Wow. I'm getting word from the chat.
Magnus lost. That is good news. That is good news.
Magnus lost.
But shoot, yeah, we see him visibly be annoyed here.
Figure out where he went wrong.
And a draw.
Hey, oh man. Oh man, he mad. You can tell. You don't like me when I'm angry,
Yeah.
right?
Tough.
Yeah, he's mad.
Let's see what went wrong. Yeah,
wait
taking
up.
this
Okay.
pawn, rook d6, was a critical
Yeah, he about
mistake.
to turn up. Watch this. He about to turn up. He about to turn up.
Tough,
That's all it takes sometimes.
tough.
Yeah. Here it
And
is.
we are off.
Game's
We see
off.
e4 on the board. Hikaru going for e5, knight f3, knight to c6, bishop b5. Okay, and he's going a6. Probably just going for his g6 stuff. Okay, goes d6. c3 by white, bishop d7 by Hikaru. And expect that, yeah, like I said, he'll later transpose into lines with g6 and bishop g7. Hikaru's taking his time. He goes g6. Yep,
That's
there we
right.
go. And
Forward.
once again, guys, give him your energy. He's 1.5 points back. He needs to get in it. Spam that flower to give him your power. And also, toss in your prime to make Harikrishna take his time.
Time to the time, baby. Let's go.
Castles, bishop g7 is on the board. There's a lot of options here. You can play more traditional rook e7. There's also the move bishop to g5. And we see Hikaru develop his knight to f6. I think... Wait, is there... Maybe there is a line where white can take an e5. But if you want to make the position very dry, white
Yeah.
can also just go something like h3 castles and then knight at d2 to play more traditionally. But we see, you know, Harikrishna taking his time, so that is good. Toss in your prime to take him, let him make more time. Bishop g5 by Harikrishna. Okay.
These castles, right? Or take, probably not captures.
Yeah,
Okay, it is kind of getting
h6.
dicey with e5. Yeah, maybe h6.
Yeah.
Kick that boy up out of there. And bishop h4.
Yeah. Hikaru has some options now. He could decide to go g5 and then maybe go after the bishop with knight h5. Or indeed just castle. That would be the traditional move. I wonder what Hikaru is, what Harikrishna is planning there. Maybe just develop a knight at d2.
He's
But
always
actually-
very comfortable too with the bishop on g7. b5 play, by the way.
Yeah, b5, I like the move. Actually, there is some sort of tactic after, let's say, bishop b3, which is on the board, Hikaru castles. If white goes knight at d2, white has to reckon with stuff like pawn takes d4, and after takes g5, bishop g3, and g4. If you move your knight, I take here. So maybe that's one of the reasons why Harikrishna preemptively takes an e5. Let's see how Hikaru is going to recapture, with the knight or with the pawn.
That's a great question. Knight takes or pawn takes? I do
Yeah.
like the knight takes. Because I get some extra space,
Yeah.
but then I have a backward pawn on d6. I can't
Yeah.
really push c5 and use the space as much yet.
Yeah. I like pawn takes as well, knight takes, for the simple reason that the knight would be kind of stuck here on c6, and now after takes we can grab space with the move c5. Now the position is fairly symmetrical, but Hikaru is up half a minute on the clock. He can expand on the queen side with a move like c5, but
Speaking of
a4,
expanding, a4.
a4 by Harikrishna, putting pressure on the queen side. Queen e7 looks very natural. You make way for your rook, and it's on the board.
Off the back
Yeah.
rank. Development for white. Knight a3, knight
Yep.
g2. And
Yeah,
taking on b5
all those
first.
moves make sense. He takes on b5, Hikaru recaptures. We see a trade on a8, and Harikrishna goes knight at d2 to develop. Okay, so once again fairly even, but Hikaru is he knows these types of positions where we see trade happen on e5 from, you know, King's Indians, or, you know, from his modern, or these types of reload passes. Let's see how he's gonna continue here. Maybe just move like c6, strengthening the position a little bit. What do you think, Canty?
In fact, I was reading the chat here too. As the chat is first off putting the power out there, the flower power. We love it. Spamming the chat. That's excellent. Secondly,
There we
some
go.
say it feels like a draw ski, which is definitely in classical. This would definitely feel sort of that way, especially with the symmetrical pawn structure. But in Blitz and being up some time here, things definitely different. So not draw just yet. I think Black has some potential to make some queenside weaknesses, maybe even running a pawn up to c4, trying to get b4 in as well. And then maybe trying to play g5, still try to get the bishop, knight h5, bishop g3, and rerouting the bishop from g7 to maybe c5.
Yeah, no, 100%, yeah. And whoever thinks is gonna be a draw is a doubter, and what do we do with doubters? We send them to the door. Guys, only energy here. Spam that flower. He needs you guys more than ever. King h7 on the board.
Jack, come on.
Harikrishna played knight at f1. Well, probably he wants to reroute the knight at e3, but after we play c6, the knight is really not going anywhere, because f5 is covered, d5 is covered. We see Hikaru playing rook to d8, lining it up with the queen. I guess the queen's gonna move to e2 or c2. Then I'm curious to see how he's gonna proceed. He could, I mean, you don't want to play g5, because then when the knight lands on e3, f5 is weak. We see queen e2 by Harikrishna. It is a bit symmetrical though. Hikaru also has 1 minute 10 seconds on the clock. They're even on time. Let's see how he will try to create chances here, but it is fairly even. c6,
Definitely,
solid
yeah.
move.
Not even any weaknesses in either position here. I mean, maybe f7 and f2 respectively for both
Yeah.
sides. And the fact that Black has pushed his pawns in front of the king.
Yeah, Harikrishna going rook to d1, rook a8 by Hikaru. Maybe f3 so you can move your knight out. He goes knight e3 right away. Okay, so bishop e6, Hikaru going for the trade, so then later on he can enter with his rook on a2. Nice
And
move.
e4 hanging.
And e4.
Bishop takes, queen takes.
Right, indeed. After the, yeah, he gets out of the pin. White can take, but then the knight on e3 is lacking any prospects, and Black's bishop should be better. We see Harikrishna playing queen is c2, sliding the queen over. Let's see
Yeah.
what Hikaru will do
No,
here.
It's not there yet. Takes. I'm so close to winning this pawn. Takes g5. Knight takes e4.
He goes king g8 and h3 is on the
F6
board.
first.
He could... if you take and g5, it looks like it's winning a pawn, but there's knight f5. He does take, and he does play g5. Okay, but knight f5 now. What do we do? Maybe just back it up with queen e8. Harikrishna. I think knight f5 is a move. Kind of has to. Otherwise, but if the bishop moves, we take on e4. That is progress.
Well, that's
that
exactly like that pawn is there, bro. I gotta take those, right? But then you write that compensation with knight f5 is super annoying. And I was trying to figure out where he was gonna put his queen. He put it on e8.
E8,
so,
yeah. And knight d6 by Harikrishna on the board. Queen e6 by Hikaru. But now white can take, and e4 is protected. So bishop g3 is hitting the pawn on e5. Hikaru leaning in. Rook d8 though. Rook d8 looks tricky. Creating a pin. Or rook a2. Attacking the queen side. Hikaru taking his time. He goes rook to d8.
It's on the board.
Now,
it is there.
If white takes on e5, I think knight... No, knight.
Knight takes c4?
Or knight e4. Knight e4, indeed.
Yeah, knight takes c4.
So maybe rook d2, so white can unpin himself later on. Harikrishna
D2,
did
then
play
there's
rook to d2.
e4. But then bishop f8, knight takes...
But knight
I guess
c4 is always there. He goes
well, I
rook
mean,
to
e4 is just gonna hang
d7.
anyway. Knight h5 then? No.
Bishop e5 on the board.
Then rook
Hikaru.
d7.
Wait, I think
He still could
he
take
goes
on
knight
e4.
e8. But is he not
Oh,
just
he
down
played
a
knight
pawn
e8,
here
okay.
after bishop g7? Harikrishna takes rook takes d6, but
8 seconds.
trading
oh my
everything in
goodness. There's no time for
h6
Hikaru.
hangs. Take. Shoot, he's just down a pawn and fighting for a draw. Right.
Dang, no.
Oh. Let's hope he will at least hang on here. c4, closing down the queen side. King g6, take.
No.
King f2.
No.
Definitely.
Dang, bro.
He should be able to hold it, but even
not used to
this is not
shading.
easy. He goes g4 and knight f6, trading off some pawns. But white could always recapture with a king and get a created passer. King h4 was chosen by Harikrishna. Take, knight at d7. King g3, he goes knight h5 check. Let's hope he can flag him by miracle. Knight f6, king h4, knight d7. That's a twofold. King g3, not looking happy. See the head shake, knight f6.
Yeah,
Bishop
he's still shaking.
D2.
I'm watching the live.
Knight h5 check.
Knight h5.
King h4, knight f6. Wait, knight e7 is a threefold. Knight e7 is a threefold.
Oh, it is?
Pretty sure it is a
Knight e7.
threefold. But he plays knight e7. King g4, check.
Yeah.
And the draw is agreed, yeah.
Okay. No L.
Better than an L, but yeah. Sag. And
Game's
we're
on.
off. Knight f3, d5. And indeed, once again, e3.
And are we going to see a b3?
c5 by...
And there it is. We got the e3, b3, knight f3 on the board.
Yeah.
He has a very nasty win rate with this opening.
Yeah. Black going a6 and knight c6. Indeed, he has won a lot of games here in like Title Tuesdays and online Blitz games. So he's very familiar with the positions on the board. Often a trade happens, then he ends up taking here. He goes for c4. We see knight f6 by black on the board. He could decide to take this pawn. He could also decide not to. Bishop e2 is also a move if you just want to develop. He goes a3. Okay, that's also possible. See black taking on d4. He's adjusting the pawn. Let's hope he did say adjust, otherwise he has to play a4.
Exactly.
He takes with the pawn.
He takes with the pawn. Okay.
Okay, let's see how black's gonna develop. Maybe move out the bishop. Black indeed goes bishop to f5. And
Bishop
Hikaru
d3.
playing bishop to d3.
Oh,
So you say the trade on d3.
Straight up.
Black should be fine here.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe e6 or g6. Both moves are possible. He's going e6, a more traditional move. Knight at d2 by Hikaru. Bishop
Castle,
e7.
king side, right?
Castles,
Definitely
castles. And rook e1 by Hikaru, putting the rook on the open file.
Easy.
Rook to c8 by black.
We got the e5 square. Rook e2.
And rook e2 doubling up on the e file.
Little double action there. No knight b4. Okay.
Oh, and we already have a first result in the books. Fedoseva and Mamajarov already drew their game.
Oh,
But of course, we're going to stick to this game of Hikaru. Queen a5 by black on the board. I guess he wants to stop, he wants to encourage this move. So he can take here. Hikaru going g3. And rook after the 8 by black. King g2 by Hikaru.
We're gonna king up. Is there some b4 in there? But more pawns on dark's gonna be bad. But maybe knight b3 to c5 could be possible.
And we see queen b5 here by black. I feel like, yeah, I don't know who favors this queen trade. I mean, black has a double pawns, but on the other hand, c2 is backwards. You could also go c4, but then you have to be ready to deal the hanging pawns. Hikaru does decide to trade on b5 and go knight e1. He wants to reroute his knight to d3.
That's very nice reroute there. Very nice b4 and knight to c5, but he could always be kicked from c5 with the extra b pawn.
Indeed. You see rook a8 by black hitting the pawn on a3, knight d3 by Hikaru. Maybe you move this rook over to c8. I feel like maybe black should be better here because it's very easy to attack the pawns.
That's a good plan. What do we do about this? That's a good plan.
Indeed. Yeah.
That's a very good plan. Let me check his facial expressions.
I don't think they're frozen. I think they're just fully concentrated. Yeah, there we go. Hikaru leaning forward. But yeah, the evil part is not like this for white. Rook's coming to a8, putting a lot of pressure on the pawn on a3. And they'll be
I can understand because it's just that double and bishop a3 like this. I have to hit your weakness. I don't know if I have to go knight c5, but then he has b6. It's just a problem. It's a ridiculous problem here. There's no weaknesses yet. What do you actually do?
Hikaru taking his time here. I can't tell the clock situation, but it feels like he got down to a minute. He played c3.
What's the idea? b4.
Rook to the knight b1 happened. But now, how are you ever going to bring your knight back into the game? Right, because the knight is completely stuck defending the pawn. Knight a5, knight c1.
Oh my goodness. Oh my, bro. Bach, talk to me right now.
This is passive, let's put it that way. Goes knight to d7. Can he go a4 to entangle a little bit, is what I wonder about. Like, if you can go a4, that'd be nice. Yeah, and he goes for it. Okay, so if black goes knight c6, there's ab.
Okay.
Right, and we're fine. More or less. Wait, actually knight c6, ab, rook a1, bishop takes. He does go knight c6. Wait, like...
Ooh, the pawn's just gonna drop. We just have to accept this, right?
If we take,
Wait, exactly.
Take. He takes here.
There we go.
There's rook a2.
Yeah.
But then still g6, we give a check, king up, queen, take, and rook takes c1. We're down a pawn.
Forward. It's on the board. It's on the board. Take those, take that one, take.
I don't know if this is working out. Black can also take here, but then we should be fine after rook b2.
He's doing it. It's done. It's there. And no matter what, we are going to this side of the deep end. Hopefully you can swim on this side. Because we about to see.
Yeah. He's head popping, but I don't see what he's intending after rook takes b4. We see Vokhidov reaching for the piece. He does take the knight. Okay, now after c7, there's knight to b6. That doesn't work. You have to take the knight. Black will take the knight here.
Right.
You can go rook to a2, but then once again, black makes some luft, and the endgame will be unpleasant.
Rook check, rook e8, bishop f6, huh? And then b4. Maybe I don't have to have you like get all my pawns yet. I can queen like later. There's still a little bit of play. It probably looks drawish to be honest. b4, rook b3, queen, bishop takes d8, rook takes c3, rook d7. Take on b7.
Right, but d4 is also very weak, and then black will have 5 pawns, and white will only have this.
That's true, and I only have the one b.
Still he did take here, and rook to a2. g6 now though by black on the board. He gives a check, king g7. c4 has to be played here, but really the best we can hope for here is a draw, unfortunately. He takes, take on c4.
Different.
Yeah. Right, because he felt like if he would lose a c3 pawn, then he would also lose a d4 pawn, and black would have 5 pawns. Right. And now he can still hope that somehow the D pawn gets traded for a B pawn, and it will be a 4 versus 3, which is a draw, but it's again not what we're hoping for. Rook D7 by Hikaru.
Well, hold on. Let's see how Magnus is doing.
Right.
So far, every time Hikaru drew, Magnus got hit. So let's just see if if this is a trend. I mean, check the other.
Rook
Let's
C3,
just see what Magnus is
King
doing.
E4.
Magnus is actually
C2, King E3, B3. Black's getting the pawn all the way down to B2. This is looking tough. Right, with the king stuck on E3, because you cannot move closer, then you hang this. So they went H4, H5, F3. But once again, you cannot move. King F6 by black. Can he hang on here?
This should be
King F4.
good, right? You can hang on here.
Rook to D2, King E3 back.
King back.
I don't know.
Slide that boy over.
Rook H2, King up to E4. Black taking his time here. Black going King back to G7. That's a bit passive. Goes King to F4.
Hey, we'll take the and then the little box.
G2.
Maybe we can chill in that little box there. F4, E3, E4.
Hikaru's going G4. Triangle. Trying to get some counterplay. We see a trade. Can't tell the clock situation is on Rook to D2, King E3, and Rook H2. King F3, I guess. Yeah, that's on the board. If you take, I take your pawn on B2. Oh, but he has... he did take the pawn. Hikaru took on B2. Looking tough, but maybe he can try this. King H6, he wants to move the king in with King to G5. But there's Rook B5, also Rook to B7. Hikaru taking his time. Which one is he going to choose? He does go Rook B5.
Yeah, this will not be a flag here, guys.
He played F5. Okay, we see take E takes and D5 by Hikaru. King G5.
Maybe some type of
King E3, making sure that Rook cannot get behind the passed pawn. What happened? Check King D4, King F4, but D6 is on the board. Wait, miracles are not out of the question here.
H1, hold up.
Rook H1.
Back. I can block with the check.
Wait, he played Rook A3. Rook H8, okay. King D5 and G5, but Hikaru's also not out of the woods. King E6 on the board. This should be a...
Hold on.
Rook H6 and King back. G4. Rook B8.
You can tell how he's moving, how he's confident.
Rook H1. Wait, but is that Rook B4? Rook B4? No, but King E3? Wait, there is Rook B4, but King E3.
Right.
Right, and he goes D7 first.
Okay, so he's got a snap.
Check. King E6.
Got a snap, right?
G3, and this should be a draw. Hikaru queens.
Yeah.
Take.
And you have to be careful not to be even worse here.
Sag. It is just a draw. King F3. He takes King F2. And all ends peacefully.
Down to the bare kings. Another one.
So yeah, it's a typical Italian white's going Rook E1, putting pressure on pawn E5. Hikaru goes Bishop G4. Let's see. So this is similar to what he had against Ali Reza in the rapid. Let's by the way flip the board. Look at it from Hikaru's perspective. H3, Bishop H5. Wait.
Love it. King H8, F5, E4, Queen F6, Rook A to E8. Just thrust everything on that side of the board. Go for mate. Oh,
but
wow.
Could he take the pawn?
Which one?
Could he take the pawn on D3? That's what I wonder about.
Oh, you snap it back on D3. Oh, that was 94. That's what Ali Reza did, too.
Right, yeah. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, he did not take the pawn. He went King H8, 94, knight to D7. So this is very similar to his game against, or maybe it is pretty much what he had against Ali Reza. Someone like Bishop D5.
Yeah, he didn't take on D3.
Oh, wait, like knight G3. Okay, so now we get this on the board, right. Hikaru still has 250 on the clock, while white has 215, so that is a time advantage for him, but
healthy. Nothing
too critical just yet. Bishop D5 by Kadric, putting pressure on the knight, so that puts pressure on the pawn on E5. I don't know, black is generally solid here.
F3.
I think in the Ali Reza game, the move order was different. Hikaru reaching for the bishop, probably thinking to go Bishop D6. There he goes. Also making way for the knight. Let's see what Kadric is going to come up with here. Should be fairly solid for Hikaru.
Wonder was oh, he traded, yeah, he went F6 in that game too. So an F6 I think was in there, rook E8s and stuff like that. Be careful about this E5 pawn being weak, but nevertheless pretty solid. I do like an F5 push though, an F5, F4, maybe try to thrust these pawns if possible.
Definitely, yeah. You can also choose to go F6, solidify the center, and we see Kadric striking with D4 in the center. I think Hikaru should take that pawn. If white takes, he has an isolated pawn, so he can't be too unhappy about that. If white takes with a knight, maybe a trade, maybe knight comes out of C5. But I definitely think black should take here, so...
Definitely.
And Hikaru does. Kadric takes on C6.
Maybe it's not necessary.
And takes on D4 like with the knight. Right, yeah, knight takes D4.
On C6.
So he's hitting the pawn on C6, but black has the two bishops, so definitely, you know, chances for both sides here. Let's see how Hikaru is going to deal with the attack on the pawn on C6. Maybe knight E5, trying to hop into D3 is a move.
Love it. I love knight E5.
Yeah.
I was also looking at queen H4 of just a pawn sacrifice with F5 and F4. Just because of we gaining the time there with F5, F4,
right.
F3 immediately after queen H4. But also C5 is no good because of knight B5. So yeah, knight E5 looks good in queen H4. I really like queen H4. I really want to just mate this man, but you don't want to mess this up. Chat is watching. We might go with knight E5.
Give him your energy, you guys. He needs to win here. Once again, he's 2 points back. He needs to get going. Knight C5 on the board. If white takes, he should be getting a lot of initiative here.
Yeah,
so let's see what Dennis is.
It is. Yeah. It's definitely a pawn sacrifice. Different kind now. Knight C5. So after knight takes C6, what are we looking at? Queen H4 or queen F6?
And he does take a pawn on C6 and queen H4 by Hikaru on the board. Now, guys, if you do want Dennis Kadric to take his time, make sure to toss in that prime. It does work. We see it time and time again.
Every single.
We see queen of D4 offering a queen trade. Okay, I think Hikaru has to take. Okay, and knight takes on the board. Hikaru could hop in with knight of D3. He definitely has comp, but is it you know, just comp for equality or more than that? Knight D3, rook D1 on the board. Hikaru takes on G3, recapture, and C5, hitting the knight. Okay, knight probably going to B5.
Right.
And then what if you go rook A8 and rook to E2, followed by bishop E4 with a huge attack? So let's see.
It. How do you stop that? Rook D2, rook E1, and
that is a good question. Yeah, I think eventually white will have to give the pawn back at some point. So yeah, once again, it feels like Hikaru is fine. He's very, very active, but is it just fine for equality or more than that? 92 by Kadric on the board. Probably wants to go for a trade with knight F4. Let's see what Hikaru is going to do. That is an annoying move. Yeah, rook E8, knight F4. Yeah.
There's no way to stop that move. It's going to be played no matter what, in fact.
Indeed.
Rook B8, maybe just get the pawn back.
Bishop rook B8 is indeed a move. No. He goes for C4 instead. Knight F4 by Kadric on the board.
Bishop E4 probably.
And rook to B8.
Rook B8, okay.
Now, if white takes, I guess we take with the bishop, and white cannot entangle easily. Oh, but then if we take with the bishop,
we need a dub. I don't care about nothing. None of that.
Yeah, we need a dub here.
We don't care about none of that. We need a dub now.
If white takes, there's B4. He takes on D3, he takes with the pawn, and he goes B4. Aha, the problem for black is that if we take twice, there's bishop A3 hitting the rook and hitting the rook on F8. So Hikaru going rook F to C8 and bishop D2 defending everything. Looking tough, he's down a pawn in an endgame. I mean...
Can't take that. I mean, that's suicide. I cannot take on B4.
He did take and play rook C2.
Oh, man. A and the B1?
A5 by Kadric.
A and B.
Bishop B4 by Hikaru trying to hang on. But this is looking very tough. I mean, white is kind of stuck though. I mean, you can push this pawn up, but then how do you make progress?
I can't go king E3. I would have to push the base pawn is the weakest. So I would have to push G2, I would have to push G4, G5, H4, and G3. And king F2, king E3.
You see Kadric shaking his head and he goes rook to C1. But still, this feels like this should be good for white. Rook D8 maybe for Hikaru. You go moves rook to A2. Okay, and B5. Shoot. Ooh. We're not getting rid of those pawns anytime soon. Goes
I had to make a look
h6.
for the king.
But bishop f4.
Rook
Hikaru's
takes
in
c2.
trouble.
But it doesn't. It's nothing.
He went rook
It's
to
literally
e8.
nothing. Oh my goodness, it's like so close, bro. Rook takes g2. He's just
Rook
hanging it.
d2.
Rook a5. Okay, takes. Jeez.
Rook a5 and king. Wait, what
he's
happened?
fast on the
Bishop to
board.
c7. Rook a3. b6. Kadric is pushing the pawns through. Hikaru is sacrificing a piece, but it cannot be enough. It feels like he's down a piece for insufficient compensation here. Can he survive here? Or will he get his first loss of the tournament? That'll be tough to recover from. He's shaking his head in disbelief. He goes rook to a3, but he's just down a full piece. Kadric reaching for the bishop. He goes bishop d6, rook a1 check, and king to h2. Looking very, very tough here. h5 by Hikaru. Okay. He wants to try to close in on the king. Go rook e1. Rook e7 by
h5,
Kadric.
h4, and rook e1. Yeah.
Not allowing. We see a trade, and look, it's just lost. King h7. But everything is just dropping off. This is dropping off. He's down a piece here. Can he create a miracle? Or will he go down here against Kadric?
Let's get some hearts in the
Rook to
chat.
d1, check, and bishop d2.
Let's put hearts in the chat. We just need some love. We just need some love flowing through.
Before he needs a miracle here. He's down a full piece. d2, check, king f2.
It's very rough.
f3. Rook.
You have to always have the tenacity.
It's not over yet though. Rook f2 on the board. He has to keep hanging in there and hope for a miracle.
The time not even updating on here.
Thought he was gonna flag it, but king f4. How does he? Wait, king. The pawn on f5 is dropping off. Rook a8. Wait, can you take, or is there bishop d2, king c2, king g5 by Kadric, king d1?
Back around. Ooh,
he's trying to make a miracle happen here. Rook a2. Wait. It's not over. It's
Wait,
not over.
I can take and push. What is this? He
Wait,
grabbed
he's
the
grabbing
queen.
the queen. Rook takes f5.
Oh my goodness! How is
this? Is
how
not
is this even
over.
possible? It's not refreshing on
It's
just
not
over.
over. King c2.
So we watching on
g4. Rook takes g2. Everything is dropping.
Live cam. Sorry
Wait,
guys, update. The board's not updating. We have to watch the live cam down below.
I think the best thing. I mean, maybe I'll just have to pull up an analysis board or something.
Yeah, it's not updating. It like frozen or something. I guess because the
wait, is he lost or is it a draw?
Going on.
Wait, it's a draw. It's a draw.
It's a draw. Wow.
Wait.
Hey, bro. Look. I mean, hey guys.
He was completely lost. He was completely lost.
Get the men off the board. We going home today. Wow. Draw.
But still, a draw is always better than a loss. But he's not getting the results he needs. And he goes through the system with d4. Michalik playing with d5. So probably turn into more of a slough. Oh, he goes c5 right away. Hikaru takes a pawn. He seems pretty confident here. Is there still some preparation by the big fella? Queen a5 check on the board.
They say TT prep in the chat. Title Tuesday prep. That's right. Yeah. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Every week we see this.
Yeah. Knight bd2 on the board. Some Title Tuesday prep. And bishop takes c4 on the board. The evil bar is showing a big advantage for Hikaru, even though after queen takes c5, the structure is approximately even. But it should be quite pleasant.
Though.
Real
quick.
He has
Rook
everything
C1?
developed, indeed.
And this might be a 15 mover. No,
well,
okay.
I think that's a bit too much to ask for. Queen b6 on the board. Notice that white was threatening here. But yeah, let's see.
Very comfortable though. Very comfortable.
Did any range switch the sounds back on? Wait, how do
you can also do queens to b3, a2, and a1 in these positions. Lots of space. You have space, you have time and options.
Yeah. Bishop f5 by Michalik. I think just castling here looks pleasant.
Very nice. Casting's fine.
Hikaru taking his time though. I wonder what exactly. Maybe 94 is what he's thinking about. But you gotta go, dude. You gotta go.
That's true. Or knight b3, queen e2, queen b3.
Yeah, and castles is on the board.
Here. Get the king out the center.
Indeed, yeah. Castles. And yeah, I think indeed the queen wants to go to b3, where it's pressing the pawn. We see Michalik playing a6. Okay, I think queen b3 is the way to go. Queen e2. by Hikaru. Okay.
This could maybe e4, e5 is an immediate threat here.
Yeah. Rook 88 by Michalik. Okay, solid move. Maybe
E4,
moving the auto
happens.
rook. White should be better here, but it's not a huge advantage. I mean, the structure is symmetrical. Black is caught up in development. I think White's pieces are just placed slightly better than Black's. Right? The queen's feeling a bit uncomfortable. The knight cannot really go anywhere.
I'm about to say e4. Look, this is like e4, e5, and then just steamroll him. Is e6 possible too? E4, e5,
E4
e6.
on the board, bishop g4.
e5 anyway. Maybe
He
h2
was
first.
reaching for the h pawn. I wonder why he slowed down. Wait, is there knight takes e4 and takes knight g3? There's no way, right?
Yeah.
Nah, queen b2, it doesn't work.
Okay.
But then why did he slow down? Maybe he takes everything in knight h5.
I really like e5. e5 and h3 is one or the other. He's looking at probably, right?
Right, because that's a
H3,
knight
knight
h5.
take.
There's tactics with knight at g3, which is really annoying.
Due to the 4.
I wonder if Hikaru
He just
really went
sidestepped.
knight at b3. I wonder if he really slowed down. Okay, he's a little bit under 2 minutes. Michalik has approximately 2.5. So he's down a little bit on the clock. Evil bar showing equal now. Knight at d7 on the board by Michalik. I expect a trade. Yeah, and indeed he does. Michalik recaptures.
Queen b2, get out the pin for the win. No
And
weaknesses
queen
around the
b2
king.
with a check.
That's right. And now we
Okay.
move the knight.
Yeah, and now
Maybe knight d4.
he played e5 to block. Okay, the e5 pawn is always a bit tender. Maybe move the knight back and hope for something. I think knight f2 makes sense because h3 is a positional threat. If the bishop has to go back here, we double
What
the
about
pawns.
knight e1 then?
He played
went
knight
d2.
after d2.
Yeah.
Yep, it's on the board. Now h3 is an unpleasant threat. Also, there's bishop d5 and knight c4 to deal with.
Yeah, that's a nasty plan. Bishop d5 and knight c4.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So Michalik taking his time here. I think Hikaru's clock is off. At least that's what I hope. I mean, 1 minute is not too comfortable, but it could
If I
be
can
right.
see it
We
on
see
the
knight
Zoom,
f6 by Michalik.
Camera.
And
then it's something.
Bishop d5 anyway by Hikaru. Oh, his idea is takes. And if take knight at c4, hitting the queen, and after that, knight at e3, forking the rook and the bishop on g4.
Sheesh. Tactics.
Nuts.
Knight.
Some very nice tactics there indeed.
Beautiful.
I wonder what can Black do. After takes, knight at c4, where can the queen go? Is there a way for Black out of this, or is he in trouble?
What if we go, well, shoot. Knight c4 is coming regardless, so he's like, yeah, just get
Yeah.
rid of this bishop now.
Oh, he took a
Takes,
knight
takes.
c4 right away.
Oh.
Okay.
Right
There's
away.
still a lot of tactics though.
Interesting. We stay on the a7 diagonal.
Oh wait, no. Okay, and we see queen b5 takes knight at e3. Now the queen has to go to either e6 or c, or either to e6 or d7, and Hikaru will jump in with knight at c5, hitting the queen and a pawn on b7. So he should be
And
getting an
h6
advantage
is
here. It's also up a little bit on the clock. Knight e6 on the board. He hops in with knight at c5. Queen went back to c8.
That's a
He
pawn
took on
speed.
g4 and took on b7. This is looking
Speed,
great.
Thank you.
Rook is
Thank you very much.
knight at d4, but does this work? There's f3. Knight f3 could be a problem, or knight at e2. Knight e2 especially. But
Yeah,
f3
definitely
on the
F3.
board, he finds it. Michalik is thinking.
And look at the lean
On the
back. Hold
board.
on, we got to practice the lean back.
Queen
When you
g5.
enter tournaments, practice
Take,
your lean
take.
back.
Now Hikaru's thinking, but he should be winning. This one he has to win. He's up in exchange time. He's also up a little bit of time on the clock.
Let's go.
He has to win this game.
Let's go.
He's reaching for the rook. He
That's
went
it.
rook c to e1.
Feels good. Feels good, man. Feels
Hitting
good.
the pawn. f6, maybe f4 action. See, Michalik is thinking here. Hikaru still 49 seconds. Michalik a little bit less. h5. Trying to create some counterplay. Maybe queen f2 and f4. That's a plan I like.
Yeah, I like it too. Queen f2, and then playing f4, blast it open, then go back to the queen side. A4,
Queen f2
b5.
on the board. Yeah, Hikaru listening to us. Good job.
That's right. Only history. Only history.
Oh.
Or it's cheating. Queen f2.
Indeed.
Very nice.
Preparing f4. Maybe you
Could
want to
be
go
a
96 to stop that, but
Yeah.
then you can go queen g3 to trade everything off. So again, in a blitz game, you're generally happy if you're winning the trade, because then, you know, the situation becomes more... Queen e3 was played, knight f4, but now g3 looks very stable. Hitting the knight.
Yeah,
This
don't
is
go queen
still-
f2 or rook f2. Why is that, Bob? Why can't I
He
go
took-
queen f2 or rook f2?
Well, because knight h3, but he took an e5, looks also good. Rook to d2 came in. Now g3, don't go g3, when rook e4, okay. So if black takes king h1, black's in trouble. If he takes the knight, rook f2 wins on the spot. And a dub, very good, very good. Very clean, very good game, that's what we need. That's what we need. Hikaru gets a
Go hard
dub,
flex.
moves to
Look
6
at
out
the
of 9.
yeah. You can just breathe. You can see the relaxation, the breathe. I'm relaxed.
Yeah.
I feel better. Right. He's not moving all fast and tense.
Yeah.
That's how you move when you're mad.
Let's see if Hikaru's going to go for this variation again with d5. Knight to d2. So sometimes what white does is they delay castling. How do you think Hikaru's going to deal with this? Oh, he goes d5.
Yeah, it goes d5 instantly here. Actually, in fact, yeah, it's already open game. I like it. Open bishops. Knight can get to f4 if I can. Maybe bishop g4, king h8, f5. I got the open position. It's always what I like to do, especially with the white pieces. You would want to do that anyway too. King h8 or king h1 and f4 and just be aggressive. Attack to that side of the board.
So yeah, he's having the same line that he had against Ali Raza and the Rapid and Dennis Kadric, the game we saw earlier. So, and though both of those games didn't really go his way, actually he was lost in both of those games. So let's hope that this one will go better. 94 on the board by white. I think move like bishop g4 is normal here. f5 also an option. There we go, f5. If white takes, you take with the pawn on e5 is nicely defended. So let's see, but on the other hand, I do think you have to take on d6. Okay, Hikaru recaptures with the pawn, strengthening the pawn on e5. And white is thinking. I think not opening we can be too unhappy about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even you can do stuff like f4, bishop g4 in many cases here. The bishop cannot get back to e2, but again, we do need to tuck our king, tuck and roll here on h8. So you can get out of ways of queen b3 checks, for instance, if we do have a bishop on g4. Since he gets out of the pin, we don't need this. We do have to tuck the king eventually.
Yeah, and white played d4 in the center, but I think, you know, e4 for Hikaru should work out his way. Knight g5. Maybe he's trying to establish a blockade here on the dark squares, right? So Hikaru goes d5 himself, grabbing more space in the center. Once again, like I kind of like his position. You know, he has more space in the center and on the king side. If white cannot blockade effectively, like if we got one more move, f4 should be crushing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely crushing.
So
squeeze him. Yeah, d5 shoot. So do you play f4
but f4?
Anyway?
F4.
Oh yeah, the knight's hanging, right. And
White
then
can
you'd have to play
sack, but is that enough?
Takes.
We see Hikaru, you know, looking like, huh?
Yo, this is gross. My shirt definitely better than yours, my guy.
Yeah.
f4.
And he goes f4. Now, if white... Nah, that is terrible. White has the sack, and there he goes. Knight takes c4. Pawn takes on the board. White does have a nice center, though, but Hikaru has an extra piece, so he has a good chance to win this one. Let's see how he's going to continue here. Maybe queen g5, hitting the bishop. Then we can bring out our own bishop to g4.
That's right. We need that.
And we get some energy from our guy.
Let's go, Chad. Let's go. 2 in a row? Can we get 2 in a row?
Yeah.
Can we get 2 in a row?
That's what he needs.
Playing.
And then he'll have white again, you know.
Stop
Then he
playing.
can easily make it 3. And then, you know, another one. That's really what he needs. If he can close his day out with 4 wins in a row, I think he will be feeling pretty good going into the second day of the Blitz. Okay, I mean, to me, queen g5 looks very logical. You hit the bishop.
Yeah, right.
You can bring out your own. Defend this pawn on f4. So what is there not to like?
Exactly. I wonder what he's
go.
thinking about. Queen g5.
Maybe
There's bishop. Maybe there's queen f3, but then bishop g4. But then bishop. Yeah. No,
Yeah, and I guess queen e7. That's also fine. Move is hitting the pawn on e4. Time situation is a. Wait, does he really have 116? That is slightly worrying, because then he's down almost a minute on the clock. White drops the bishop back to d3, defending the pawn on e4, and he's reaching for the g pawn. g5 is possible. to hang on to the f4 pawn. I feel like if white takes here, white should be fine, and g5 by Hikaru is on the board. White going queen to h5, trying to create threats on the king side. Okay, you have to get developed. He goes queen to g7.
This is still murky because, like, I mean, you have a piece, but like the double bishops, they got the double ops and a strong center. It is compensation for being down a piece. I mean, this is not over, especially if the dark square bishop gets active. Whoa, this could turn around 100%.
No, for sure, yeah. And queen g7 is on the board. Onyschuk is thinking here. He goes king to h1. Maybe there was some knight d4 business, but this does give Hikaru the time to stabilize. Move out the bishop to d7, I would think. He moves it out to e6. This should definitely be better. He's up a piece now, and I feel like white does not have sufficient compensation. The rook's about to move in.
Does not work, by the way, chat.
So let's
f7.
Yeah, indeed. In case of d5, there's also knight e5. White going b3. Maybe wants to develop the bishop this way, but something like rook f6, rook h6. There he goes, rook f6 on the board.
Ooh, very nice.
Activating the rook that way. Spam that flower to give him that power.
That's right.
There he goes.
We need the flower power. We need it all.
f6, queen drops back to e2. Maybe time to move in the other rook. d5 can still be... Okay, he goes rook to e8. Okay, nice move.
How do we get the king side attack going here? Rook h6.
That is a good question. Bishop e2 on the board, and Hikaru played...
And box c4, d5, and e5, right? I mean, just opening up the bishops.
There might have been d5 takes and c4, but queen f2 was chosen by Onyschuk. This should be great. Like, try to get the queen on the same line as the rook, and then try to hit him on h2. That should be crushing. Hikaru going knight to d7.
Question is how.
Nice
knight
move
d7,
as well.
Knight f6, knight g4.
Nice indeed. Nice move. Yeah, he's crushing this one. Okay, I'm gonna mark this up. I'm gonna mark this up as a win. Because we move to 7 out of 9. e5 by Onyschuk, stopping the knight from coming to f6. Rookie knight e7 on the board. Maybe knight e5 to e3. c4. And bishop f5 happened. Yeah, there we go. Okay. What happened? I can't tell. The bishop went to...
Bishop e2, bishop e4.
Yeah, they're shuffling back and forth. And knight at g6 by Hikaru. Gotta be careful that those pawns don't push through. And there he goes, g4. Coming for him with g3. This looks crushing.
Oh, I didn't see. I didn't update.
Rook a1, g4 on the board. Yeah, now this is a threat. This is a threat. This is gonna be a dub. King to g1 on the board. Rook takes h2. Boom. Bishop takes
Thinkers.
g4.
Mate took on h2. Can it update on
queen
the board
h6. Bishop h3.
Oh, wow.
Rook takes. Pawn takes.
Oh
bishop
my
takes.
goodness.
He's crushing him here.
Whoa. He just put on the show for the chat.
e6 on the board. It's not over yet, but knight f6 looks nice, so you're ready to hop in with the other knight. Everything should be winning here, but he still needs to close this one out. Keep spamming that flower, you guys.
Yeah.
Keep giving him energy. He goes knight f6. Nice move.
They said,
ready to hop in.
Energy. He's too strong. His power level is over 9,000. I don't know. Stop giving him so much power.
It's like the spirit bomb, you guys. Like, raise your hands and throw that energy his way. Queen h2 on the board, but knight g4 looks crushing. Knight g4 on the board. Queen h1. Queen h4 maybe. There he goes. And it should be over. Queen g3 is a massive threat. Rook f3 cannot be played. Queen h4 on the board. Queen f3. Bishop takes f1. This is over. Completely crushing. Boom! There we go.
Wow. Man.
And another dub.
Dub, let's go. Dubster.
Easy clap. And we have some sort of Banco-ish, Benoni/type-ish type of position. So what do you make of this opening canty?
Oh, it's space grabbing. Definitely good for white. Obviously, especially engines love these, but as a human, I mean, both sides have been played. Even Nakamura's played sometimes on the King's Indian side of things of this. But white does have a lot of space. Black's trying to play dynamically. I think white does, Hikaru knows what to do with space. So knight d2, knight c4 may be coming up here, gripping on the b6 and stopping that. I think it's pretty good, but Sindarov knows what to do. He plays knight e4, very good. Queen c2 to follow now, and
for sure,
seems pretty solid and standard so far, to say the least.
Yeah, and for those of you who are wondering like why there's no players in the background, that is because the women's section is less rounds. I think it's 17. So they play 10 today and 7 tomorrow. That's why the boards in the background are empty. But yeah, Hikaru here with the white pieces against Sindarov. We see them, you know, blitzing out the moves. Right, a bishop f4. This looks quite pleasant for Hikaru. If he can somehow get the knight around a c4, then d6 comes under a lot of pressure. But he's taking his time here after the move bishop to g4.
Now, if e4, do you think he's going to give up the bishop here?
Yeah, I mean, I think so, because you want to get developed somehow, and if you do allow knight at d2, the c4, they will be annoying to deal with.
Yeah, and if I go knight d2, he's going to take on e4. That's why bishop g4 was so good, or e2, I mean. So
right, yeah. I really do wonder if Hikaru can somehow do it anyway, and then jump with the knight and take on d6. Maybe that is an option, but perhaps black has tactical means. Maybe knight d2 g5, and then so bishop e3 sack. He goes knight d2, okay. But yeah, I do wonder if
there it is.
Black can go g5, and after bishop e3, black could sack, but then
it can't be enough. Definitely not enough.
Right, yeah.
Bishop h6, I step king h1, knight e4, king rook f1 again. I mean, the bishop is going to be dumped strong on e3 and d4.
Yeah.
If he's able to grab e3.
Yeah, but if you do anything else, like the lines we mentioned, like bishop 6 e2, knight e4, looks lost. And indeed, g5 is on the board, bishop e3 by Hikaru. Will the youngster sack on e3, or will he just complete development with knight at d7? Right? Oh, and he goes for bishop, rook takes c3, f takes c3,
sack.
And knight at d7.
Wow, and knight
okay, not easy to deal with in a blitz game. So let's see. I mean, I think someone like bishop e4 makes sense. Maybe bishop f5. Try to get control over the light squares over there. Spam that flower to give Hikaru power.
Generally, the sacrifice is correct, but in fact, it's weird. Like, the sack is correct, but it's not like he's not winning. In fact, you know, you still would prefer to be white. I mean, because it feels like he doesn't have enough compensation, but he has enough compensation, which is weird.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like white should be better. There should be a way to stabilize the position here. Also, the fact that I mentioned earlier that black has pushed this pawn to g5. If this pawn was on g6, then black should have, you know, good positional compensation. But the pawn on g5 weakens the light squares, and there we go. Bishop e4 from Hikaru on the board. That looks like the right move. Let's see how Sindarov will deal with the attack on the h7 pawn.
Because there's no dark square bishop, maybe
there's knight f6, bishop f5 by Hikaru. Nice move.
Knight f6, bishop f5, very nice.
And he went queen to e7. Maybe knight c4, stabilizing everything. He goes rook to a3, defending the pawn laterally. Also looks good. I think Hikaru would like to get... Okay, he goes rook to e8. Very logical. Let's see how Hikaru will try to stabilize here. But it does feel like the position should be better for him. And he needs a win here. He needs a win. A win would move him closer to the leaders.
It's 2 in a row so far.
And oh, we already have the first result of the round. Fedoseev and Dubov already drew their game. Okay. I wonder if it's just, you know, a friendly draw. I mean, they are both from Russia, both around the same age, so I don't know. Anyway, they do stay at the top. But a5 by Hikaru.
Draw.
Knight c4 follow.
Yeah, that was
Bishop h5 by Sindarov. Okay, so now the pawn on d5 is under attack. He could not take it earlier because that would leave the bishop hanging. So maybe e4 by Hikaru, followed by knight c4, looks quite pleasant for him. Let's see what he's going to come up with. But he should be better here. The evil bar in e4 on the board. The evil bar also shows a 1.5 advantage for white. It's definitely looking very promising. Bishop g6 by Sindarov on the board.
It's very nice, right? We have that, of course, again, we have that exchange. This is starting to show a little bit more. It takes so much more accuracy and time, which Sindarov doesn't have a lot of.
He takes on g6, this is possible, but this stabilizes the light squares a little bit for black. King g2 by Hikaru on the board. Making sure there's no nasty tactics on this diagonal if the bishop ever lands here. So both players are around a minute. Looks better for Hikaru, but not that easy to improve the position, because you can't really move the knight. That always leaves this pawn hanging. Rook b3 is a move, but then what do you do afterwards, right?
All right, it's trying to improve and press. How is that possible? Maybe rook to f1. Maybe try to use this e-rook on e1.
Indeed. Yeah, maybe move the rook over here or something. Knight g4 by Sindarov. Now knight e3 is not a threat. Knight c4 by Hikaru. I like that. Putting pressure on the pawn on d6. I think if Hikaru gets one or two moves, he's gonna go rook to b3 and rook to b6, putting maximum pressure on the pawn on d6.
D6, yeah. Looking
Just
good.
Just make sure you don't blunder 93. 95, rook b3 on the board. It's starting to look better and better. He's getting more control of the position, but once again, he'll still have to convert this one. I think they traded. They traded. The bishop landed on d4 and queen c2. Nice move by Hikaru, defending pawn on e4. G4 by Sindarov. He's probably looking at this, and this. Queen g5, queen h5, queen h3. e3, bishop e5 on the board.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. Looks better for Hikaru, but still very much a game. He's reaching for the queen. Queen e2, nice move, hitting the pawn on g4. And Sindarov went...
Got the rooks.
Queen to d7, rook b6. King g7.
How do we win this? How do we
Again,
actually
white
win
should be
this?
better, but how do you make progress? Maybe move the rook over.
Right.
Rook
How
f1
do
on
we
the
win
board.
this? Yeah, maybe
Oh, but
give
it says
back
that
somehow.
Sindarov has 18 seconds. Hikaru has like 50. Drop in that prime to make Sindarov lose on... Okay, get him low on time.
Okay, well.
I feel a bit bad saying like make him lose on time, because it's very, very tough, but yeah. Before, that's a nice move. Opening up
But
the
the
b
prime's
file, so
help.
then... Yeah. What happened? I can't tell. c4, that looks like a free pawn. Hikaru did in fact take it. I can't tell what Sindarov did.
He moved his queen back.
He moved his queen back. It's all looking pretty
Yeah,
stable
it's
now
not
for
pressure.
Hikaru. Hitting the... Was the bishop g3? He didn't see it. He went queen d7. Okay, b5 now. Nice move, making progress. Takes. Rook takes. Queen takes was made possible as well. But Hikaru... Oh,
Is he sacking? No, he didn't. Rook h5. I felt the sack coming. I thought he was about to do it.
Hikaru goes rook to f2 to stabilize. Queen c8 on the board.
How much time is even
It's
left?
not over
I
just
gotta
yet, but
refresh.
Hikaru
It's
should
not
win this
catching
one.
up.
New queen c2.
Rook takes
Oh, he wants to
b5.
do this. He wants to do this. Still some tricks. Still some tricks. Hikaru going queen to f1.
Queen f1.
Hitting the pawn. Can't tell what happened. He played f6. F6. Queen b1. This looks
Queen
crushing.
b1. Okay.
Rook takes b7
Spinkers.
happened.
Whoa.
Queen to c3. I can't tell what's going on. Still very tricky. Check.
That's a check.
H5, rook takes h5. Pawn takes. Hikaru looks a bit more relaxed now. Queen c2. He should be winning this one. There goes the a pawn. h4. Still
what is
tricky.
going on there, right? Queen, rook, bishop.
There's an h4 is on the board,
Let
but
me
it's
see
like
if they
really
gotta
threat.
refresh. Yeah.
You can maybe just... Anyone on the board?
Yeah, they already took that.
Oh, he took and queen
Way
e1,
behind
hitting
us.
the pawn, but...
Way behind.
Queen e6. Queen e2. Just want to check
Check
rook
up,
f1. This
blind.
looks winning. The king will sit safely in the corner, it feels, but still, he will have to convert this one. Before king h1. Okay, this is the position on the board. It's winning. He's gonna take here, then he's gonna take here, and then he stabilizes. King h1 is on the board. He takes on h3.
Oh, he takes
Like
both
queen
of them.
e4,
Now
queen
he's out the
g2.
woods. Queen g2, and what do you do? And that's what we did. We
still-
did queen f3.
Still, he has
good.
to convert, you know?
And we got to push those, but we getting out of the box though. And the h pawn's
There we
he
go, there we
resigns.
go.
He resigns. Oh my goodness.
And a win for Hikaru. He moves to 8 points out of 11. Getting closer to the leaders. Very, very important win here. Let's have a look at what happened in the other games. You guys did this. You guys did this.
Chad, you did this. Y'all kept it coming. Y'all
Yeah.
kept it coming. His power level was still over 9,000.
Bishop b4 by Griscuk. Queen c2 and castling. a3. So you trade on the c3 square. And d5. This is the main line. Now here, against Jordan Van Forest, Hikaru chose to move e3. And we see it here once again. And Griscuk doesn't know it. Like we said, Hikaru had this in the Speed Chess Championship with the black pieces against Wesley So, and he was struggling and with the black pieces. And with the white piece against Jordan Van Forest, he quickly got a winning position. So let's hope this one will go well too.
Yeah, definitely. I'll open C file. Of course, he's familiar with these lines. He's played them many times right here. And we also have a good pawn structure. Pressure down the C file, both the bishops, bishop pair. Well, maybe not for long. After bishop a6, trading them.
No, indeed. And yeah, white is a slightly better pawn structure. The bishop on c1 is a little bit passive. If the bishop would be out to, let's say, g5 or f4, white should be having a nice advantage. But Indeed, let's say this pawn was on b7, right? All of black's pawn structure problems would be solved, but this creates a backwards pawn on c7, which can never really be solved, right? So, and we see Griscuk here going for the first real thing of the game. Let's see if Hikaru can put him under real pressure. Queen e7 is on the board.
Well, speaking of pressure, I mean, we know who thinks the most is the man right here, but he can still play very, 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 very high level chess more often than not when he's very long time. So we know Griscuk for thinking a lot, but maybe, you know, just maybe, especially on a 3-game win streak here, you know, maybe sometimes you're hot, you get the hot hand here, maybe we'll be able to push him into that time trouble that he's usually in and be able to get a dub here.
Yeah. And also, by the way, we want to bring to your attention that already the first result of the round is in. Dubov and Feres and I'm reading it wrong. It's Nepo already drew Fereseyev, so another friendly draw, I guess you can say, between the Russians. Bishop d2 here by Hikaru. Hikaru's looking very confident. He's moving very fast because he knows how unpleasant this position is for the black pieces, because he he was suffering himself against Wesley So in the Speed Chess Championship.
Indeed here, and after bishop to d2, my bishop's looking kind of ugly here on d2, but we could play bishop to c3.
Right.
How do we activate this bishop bot? What's the plan for it?
That is a good question indeed. I think at some point, you know, a trade will happen. I don't think right away, because the black knights will just get too active. So he's probably going to delay that, maybe with a move like rook to c1 or castling. Once again, the structure is in his favor. Also, Griscuk down to 123 on the clock, while Hikaru almost has 3 minutes here.
Yeah.
Yeah. True, but...
Sorry, what day is it again? Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Alright, but let's see what Hikaru's going to do here. I saw him reaching for the rook earlier. Then he had, you know, a bit of hesitation. So let's see whether he'll throw the move in anyway. And there he goes, rook to c1.
Yeah, rook c1.
Looking very confident.
On the file with a smile here. So after, let's say captures on d4, do we take with, what do we take with? Pawn takes is definitely not it. We're not isolating. So it's either, well, then I would have to take knight only. But then that makes the bishop still terrible? Are you isolating the pawn?
Well, yeah, I was thinking initially, like, okay, we always want to take with a knight, because then the pawn on d5 will be isolated and we can target it. On the other hand, if we take with the pawn, the bishop has more space to move, but Griscuk maneuvers his knight at e6. I think now is sort of the time to take on c5, but Hikaru goes bishop to c3. He delays the decision. Now, black could play c4, create a majority, and make sure that his pawns will never be damaged. But then on the other hand, white gets more of a free hand in the center and on the queen side. And we do see c4 from Griscuk on the board.
Right,
let's see what I think f3 is very natural here. Hikaru goes a4 first.
Oh,
that is possible. We saw a4 by Hikaru stopping the queen side expansion, and Griscuk played rook e8 and f3 on the board. f5 stopping e4 by Hikaru, king f2.
He did play f5. We know it's coming.
Yeah.
So what do we do about this? King f2, okay.
Yeah. Once again, Hikaru almost up a minute on the clock. There's ideas like h3, g4 to expand. It's hard to tell what's going on.
Bishop b4. Maybe going to d6 and e5.
That is an idea for sure.
Stops it. Yeah, he knew that was coming. He was like, none of that. h3, more of a waiting move. Maybe g4 too. h5. Dang.
Yeah.
So it's only stopping everything.
h4. Okay, yes, this f4 square for his knight, but it's currently covered by the other knight. So let's see how he's going to make progress. I think he played the move g3, solidifying the structure. Griscuk moved his rook over to c8. 126 for Hikaru, 40 seconds for Griscuk. But
this is solid though.
Yeah, solid for both sides. Difficult to really do anything. Knight to c3, a6 by Griscuk. Okay, what is Hikaru gonna do here? It's difficult to come up with a plan.
His pieces are all ideal. I mean, that was honestly a masterclass of defense, and from Griscuk's side, to be honest, he put the knights on e6 and f6.
Yeah,
double the rooks and slowly expanding. Stopped h5. He stopped the g4 push. He stopped the e4 push. This was like excellent prophylaxis.
Yeah, Hikaru moved his king over to the center, with king e2, king d2, and Griscuk seems to be doing the same thing, moves his king to d7. Now once again guys, Griscuk has 25 seconds. Toss in that prime to get him low on time.
Works every time. Let's go.
Yeah, rook e8 by Griscuk. I think both sides have a difficult time here figuring out a plan, but it feels like if someone can do anything, it's Hikaru. He goes king to c2. What is that? Yeah. G6 by Griscuk, solidifying this. I think that king belongs on d2. You want to make sure that this pawn is always protected. But Hikaru chooses that square for his bishop. I like the bishop.
What about this block? Maybe double on the e file and eventually push e or g4, something like that. I mean, maybe at the right timing as a moment to try to break down this time.
Completely controlled. It seems very difficult.
No g4, but definitely maybe an e4. But it's very risky. I mean, we don't know what's on the other end of that.
Knight c3. What is that? They're shuffling back and forth. So again, Hikaru does have that like 20-second time advantage. The knight moving around the b4 that would hit the rook, and this rook he's trying to provoke a5. Okay, he could go a5 himself and then knight at b4, but then Griscuk will defend. That's a committal decision. So if he, but it could work out. Let's see if he's going to go for it or if he will just keep shuffling. He moves the other rook to e1. Maybe he's looking at a break, like you said, in the center.
Yeah, an e4 maybe.
But it seems extremely difficult to push through.
Yeah. Knowing Hikaru, he likes to do that. I mean, this is not online chess, but in online chess, he likes to do that. He likes to wait around and wait and shuffle until that right moment. And then he'll break the position open at e4 when you got like 6 seconds left. And you got to figure it out.
And then he's just like, okay, I'm just going to flag him here. Anyway, king c6, rook a1 on the board. At some point, the 50 move rule might be a thing, but I think that's way too early. It looks even to me, but I predict that at some point, something is going to happen. Either player is going to do something.
What about this? Watch this plan. Right, so we move in, we go bishop e1, knight c3, rook e2, and then you put the bishop on f2, double the rooks, and then finally play e4. With the knight on c3, bishop f2, double rooks, play e4. And that is probably the best method eventually to play e4.
He could go, both sides just choose to maneuver. I think, yeah. Tough position. I really don't see what either player can do here. Knight to c3, king moves over. Hikaru moves the king back. Yeah, they're shuffling back and forth.
It's like 7 seconds. And it really is working because he's thinking. Like, it really has Griscuk out here wasting time. He had more time than this.
Right, but Griscuk stays around that, you know, like 15, around 15 seconds. Hikaru around 30. But yeah, once again, both sides really have a tough time doing anything. Hikaru once again moving back and forth. He goes knight to b4, hitting the pawn.
E4.
The pawn on a6 is under attack. But once again, he cannot go out of his way and do something crazy. Because Griscuk's position is solid, you can... But he's leaning forward now. Wait, this e4 move. I think rook a8 was played. He goes g4, breaking open on the king side. Now it's exploding.
Let's go.
E4 would have been stronger, but he chose his g4.
E4.
G4 on the board.
Who's home?
A5 hitting the knight.
You just take on f5, right? Take on f5 first, and then move the knight.
I think he took an f5. Wait, that must be a transmission error. He recaptured. He recaptured.
Yeah, that's definitely.
For sure, I can tell what's going on, but
okay.
Moves are flying, and this looks good for Hikaru. Knight and b5 is very solid, can never be removed. Takes on e3, rook takes.
Double rooks.
Rook to e7.
2 seconds left on the clock for Griscuk. He played
h5 is weak.
Beautiful.
Rook e7 on the board. Rook e7 on the board. Hikaru going bishop f4. He wants to recapture the bishop. Griscuk takes. Bishop takes. Rook to g8 now by Griscuk. Trying to use the open file. Rook g8 on the board. What can Hikaru do here? Let's see it. He can maybe go rook e1 on the board. Yeah, he went knight to d7.
He traded him. He traded rooks. King up.
Wait,
king up. Push.
Tough to tell you what's going on. It's probably a draw. But in no time it can really anything can happen here.
Playing this? Like, he plays so good.
There's some sort of zook zwang on the board.
Right, Zugmaster. Hold on. B6 is hanging.
Oh, you can think of b6. Knight c6, but can you win? Bishop c7. Bishop c7. It's still sort of zugzwang. King up. King up. But you hang this. You went bishop back. Okay.
Is this winning?
Griscuk hopping in with the knight. Can't tell what happened. Knight takes d4. Bishop takes a5 is on the board. This is Hikaru's game to win. King of 4. Knight b3.
Heck,
This.
excellent.
Knight b3. Move the bishop somewhere.
Risky. The bishop one diagonal method.
But this
covers
pawn is
both
not
the
really going
pawns.
anywhere. The A pawn should be way stronger. Bishop b4, d4, king e4 on the board. d3, king e3.
It's winning.
a5, there he goes. Knight at d4. Bishop c3. Knight f5 check. And there goes the h pawn.
Push him. Oh, he's shaking his
Oh
head.
no.
He's shaking
The
his
h pawn
head.
drops off.
He's shaking his
King
head.
e4, knight takes h4. This is probably a draw. But still, a6, king c6, king e4. He's not happy. f4 on the board.
Oh, he takes the. He takes
Loses the
the
pawn. He pushes forward. Griscuk can probably. Can he take? Can he take an f5 or does that lose the game? I have no idea. Griscuk having no time. Or will he let this pawn push through? Oh wait, Griscuk flags? Or did he offer a draw? I can't tell.
I think he offered a draw. I think it was a draw. I think it was draw, bro. I think he gave him a draw.
He had him there. But I think indeed a draw was offered. Like probably Griscuk. Probably this was a draw. Right?
Let me refresh.
That was a tough game. He had him right around here. He blundered his move knight f5. That really gave everything away. In this position, the move a6 would have been winning if he just taken a little bit of time to calculate. Like if you give a check, I go king back, take, you cannot stop this pawn. Wait, it looks like it's a draw. It's a draw.
Yeah, it's a draw.
Not a disastrous result, but he had him.
They're going back and looking at it right now, as you see on the screen, guys. Even back here, as they analyze. Okay, are we able to? We can see that, I think, right, on the live board.
Yeah.
I think we can see their analysis on the live board.
Very, very tough. Yeah, bishop c3. So unfortunately not the move. He misses move knight f5. Then with the h-pawn dropping off, black has his own passer, and suddenly everything gets out of control. And the king can still stop this pawn. So a draw for Hikaru. So let's have a look at the other results.
3.5 out of the last 4. I mean, we can't be mad, y'all. Think about that. 3.5 out of the last 4.
True, but still, like, I mean, a6 wins the game here. So tough, very, very tough.
I mean, I think actually from the start of the rapid, even through the blitz day, whenever it's like gotten really messy and low on time, my instincts have been horrible. I mean, I think I showed in the first game against Onyschuk on the rapid, and I mean, I felt like today. I mean, I was able to win the game against Sindarov, but I also like panicked and messed that up a little bit too at the end. But yeah, no, it's what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, I felt like you had a bit of a slow start. Right. I mean, you did win some games in the beginning, but then yeah, you had a bunch of draws. Do you feel like that was just bad luck, or like what do you think was the main factor that those games didn't really go your way?
I mean, I just wasn't sharp. I mean, I basically just blundered. I mean, this game against the Indian kid where I played this e4 move, like I just forgot that after queen e4, queen f6, there was queen g6. I mean, I literally just forgot that he could block with the queen.
Oh.
I mean, that was very bad. I mean, I think there was another game too that I was winning quite smoothly, and then I messed up.
Maybe against Synchev?
Ah, yes, this one, of course. Yeah, this was also ridiculous too. Completely winning, and then I made a one-move blunder, allowing this rook d6 pin of the knight on d5.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think my instincts were very, very bad today. But I was able to win some games, and you know, it's decent. But of course, to not win this last one, considering, you know, I had big advantage on the clock, big advantage on the board. I mean, was just very, very poor technique. But you know, it wasn't really my day. So to be where I'm at, I guess you could say I'm somewhat happy, because I think I'm maybe 1.5 points out, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, if anybody can get hot, and there still are a lot of rounds, so I think that's the most important takeaway.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think you're 1.5 points behind Lavon, and yeah, this last game against Griscuk was kind of unfortunate. So yeah, we saw you, you know, like shuffling back and forth. Did you feel like at some point a chance would arise, or he would get low on the clock, or? Yeah, well, sort of your thing.
He was low on the clock. It was hard to play, and I figured sooner or later I would have an opportunity to complicate matters. And I thought what I did was good, and then his reaction was not great, because after this g4, a5, g takes f5, I actually thought
hit AB.
Yeah, I thought if he just took on b4, he was actually completely fine with no worries. And then he didn't do that, and so I got these chances. And then at the end, I just hallucinated. I just forgot about this knight f5 move, basically. And yeah, I mean, it's just crazy, but
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah, sorry kind of unfortunate you didn't win that game. So yeah, how are you gonna try to, get into it tomorrow?
I mean, just play better. I don't usually have 2 off days in a row, so if I play well, good things will happen. And the thing is, again, there are many rounds left. It's quite different than the Rapid, where I think it's much harder to win games and come back from behind. But here, at least, there are 9 games. I mean, still a lot of games left, so anything can happen.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so we hope you do get on a streak tomorrow, and then indeed everything can happen.
Oh, I mean, don't forget. I think both Magnus and I are a little bit behind, but we still have to play. I think we have to play all the top players still. So,
right.
I mean, there's no guarantee that they'll also keep running it up and winning every game. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, but it's I mean, very mixed, very mixed day. I mean, I don't like. I'm pretty upset about the last game, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, this game against
Kadric.
Yeah, Kadric was. I should lose that game 99 out of 100. So at the same time, it's kind of hard to be too upset. But it's what it is.
Yeah, I guess this was game number 100 then that you did manage to save.
Yeah.
We've been doing the easy work here, cheering you on, and you're doing the heavy lifting. Do you have anything to say, to your fans who are here, cheering you on?
Not really. I just hope that everyone's enjoying the show. Really, I mean, it's been. I mean, the Rapid was much smoother, I think you could say, but this has been, I mean, very, very choppy, of course. And I hope everyone's enjoying and having a good time, and hopefully I'll be back to talk to everyone soon.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that is part of Blitz, but yeah, keep all the good work, man, and we will keep cheering you on.
All right. Have a good one, you guys.
You too.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.